Being a person who stutters is not always easy. I have good days where I can speak very fluidly and everything seems easy, and I have days where things are really hard to get out, and it's really hard for me to talk to coworkers, sometimes to parents, to family and friends, and that's the nature of stuttering. Good days and bad days, and on the days that are hard for me, it's easy for me to be with my friends and to tell them I'm having a really hard time with my stuttering today. I don't know what's going on. And they know what that means, which to them that means be patient, go ahead and let me stutter, let me get all of my words out, and really just act like everything's fine, because it totally is fine. And for times where I'm out and about, let's just say I'm at Chick-fil-A trying to order my chicken sandwich and I can't say anything and everyone is confused, which is a problem that happens to me a lot of the time. People don't know how to react because they don't know what's going on. Maybe they can't see me and I'm having a block and I literally can't get my words out. I am advocating all the time, telling people I'm a person who stutters, give me a second. And that's what that advocation looks like for me when I'm out in public. A simple statement, hey, I'm stuttering, give me a second, and going on. That way, that the unknown part, the uncertainty of what's going on is eliminated, and that itself just decreases the pressure for me to, be on the spot and get my words out. Well, 100%, a million percent, whenever I try to not stutter is when I'm stuttering more. That's why I'll be with people and I'll tell my friends, oh yeah, I'm a person who stutters, or new people, and they tell me, I've never heard you stutter. And the reason being is because usually when I'm comfortable with people, I am not trying to not stutter. I'm not scared of stuttering with people who know me and love me because I know that they accept me. A lot of the time, I'm stuttering more when I'm trying not to stutter. I would advise someone who's just starting to be an advocate, probably to do what I did. I didn't get speech therapy until I was 22 years old, when I had had enough and I was in class and I couldn't say my name and I really knew I needed to do something about it. One of the things that my speech therapist did with me is she went with me around the campus and we went to all the spots where I always had a stuttering moment. For example, at Chick-fil-A, I would always get the Chick-fil-A nuggets instead of the chicken sandwich because I knew that I was going to stutter on the word sandwich. And I would get something I literally did not want because I want to avoid that stuttering moment. And so I had my support, which for me made me feel safe. And we went together and I stuttered so hard on the word chicken sandwich. And she was right there with me, kind of just being a model of what it is like to be with someone who stutters, was patient and waited for me. And that moment, I got through it and it was totally fine. And we kind of celebrated afterwards. And that meant a lot to me to have that support, which is why it's so important to spread the word and talk about stuttering with friends and family, because then they also become advocates for you and you feel that support. I would say to that parent to look out for if their kid is getting visibly frustrated or is trying to get their words out and is having a negative reaction to that. And also not only watch out for their reaction, but monitor your own reactions. Make sure that you are not telling them to slow down, to relax, because those are often very demeaning and put pressure on that kiddo. And really just being very, very patient, sometimes even modeling slow, relaxed pace, because that makes them feel less hurried and they know that they're in an environment where they can, go nice and slow and that there's going to be that patience there. And just listening to them, making sure that they have that one-on-one time to talk to you, because really what they need to understand is that the content of what they have to say is important. It's not how they say it. Everyone has dissolute moments, and a typical one that you would see with maybe like a 3-year-old kiddo is a phrase repetition. An example of that would sound like, I want to go home. Another example of a typical disfluency would be the use of interjections, such as, but. An example of a non-typical dissolute moment would be a block, which would sound like this. But. Another example would be a prolongation, which would sound like, sometimes. Another stuttering-like fluency that can be confusing for parents is the repetition of a single syllable word, like to, which would look like, I want to go home. You also have repetitions of sounds or syllables in longer words, which would look like, I see the baby, or I see the baby. I got speech therapy for the first time when I was around 22 years old. And when I first started, I don't think I stuttered in one session. Maybe it was because I felt like it was a safe place and it was okay if I stuttered, so I never stuttered. And when we addressed the feelings part of how I felt about my stutter is really when I had my breakthrough. And that breakthrough of accepting that I was a person who stutters is what led me to be an advocate for myself. And there was a moment where I was with my family at the Arroyo, it's like a lake house, and I was able to share with my whole entire family how I was in speech therapy, and they were asking me questions about it, and that moment literally changed my whole entire life. It was a moment where my family that I never wanted to stutter around because I thought that they would maybe think that I was stupid or dumb or something, to be honest, made me feel like they cared and wanted to learn more, and I will never forget that moment, actually. Actually here. So yeah, just really the emphasis, and if I could get anything across to anyone there, it's just being able to share what it's like being a person who stutters and share information about it, such as, yeah, I stutter, and so if you see me stuttering and, having a block or being stuck on a word, like them knowing that it's just because I'm stuttering, and them not just being confused about what's happening makes me feel like I'm safe and makes me feel like I can stutter, which actually helps me stutter less. And so yeah, that moment with my family, just them being interested and curious about learning more, changed entirely. So not only being an advocate for yourself, but being an advocate for people who you know and love who stutter, and advocating for them is really important. The best message that I could give. When you're talking to someone who stutters, do not tell them to slow down or relax. Because I can slow down and I can relax as much as I possibly want or can, and it's not going to change anything. When you're talking to someone who stutters, I would say just maintain that eye contact, be patient, and go with your conversation as you would any other person. If I'm talking to a parent and they're asking me what they can do to help their kid who's stuttering and having a hard time getting their words out, I would say definitely putting less pressure on the questions that you ask them. So instead of asking them, what do you want for lunch? You could rephrase that question to, I wonder what you want for lunch, just to take some of that pressure off. I would also set time aside to have one-on-one time where they feel like they have a lot of your attention, just to give them that time that they know what they have to say is important and that what they have to say matters. I would say teaching them to be an advocate for themselves. So if someone is asking them why they're talking like that, maybe telling that person, how about you ask them? And giving them that strength, that confidence to say, I stutter, and it's no big deal. When they're having a stuttering moment, being super patient and letting them get through that fluid moment, and even giving them, some props afterwards and telling them, that was really hard, and you got it out and you stuck through it and got your message across, because that's what's most important. That they're able to stutter and it's okay, and get through that moment and not try and go around it or not get discouraged, because we want our kiddos to tell us all the things that they want to tell us. I would also say that modeling slow and relaxed speech is another tip that I give parents, primarily because it kind of sets the tone that they don't need to be hurried and they can go at a slow pace, and if everything around them is moving slow and everyone's talking slow, they can kind of take their time with what they need to say. Just being patient. I had moments in my life where I struggled with communication, and now to be able to help kiddos and people of all ages with their communication is what drives me every single day, in which that passion is just inside of me. And that's why on the good days, the hard days, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we're working to help people talk and convey their thoughts so that they can connect with people and friends and family, because that's what life is about. To be honest, I really do feel the most proud of myself whenever I say my real name, which is Melissa, because I could never, ever, ever say it. Like literally growing up, I mean, everyone calls me Misha naturally, but I could never say my name, which I think is beautiful because my name is Misha Salinas, which is lovely, and I could never say it. And without therapy that I got when I was in college and kind of like addressing the feelings and emotions and working through them, I don't think that I would even be able to say that like at all. It might have taken me 2 minutes.
So what do you order now at Chick-fil-A?
It depends on what I'm in the mood for. So sometimes Chick-fil-A sandwich, sometimes nuggets, but
Right.
so yeah, that always feels good.
It's going good. Ashley's making a whiteboard for me right now in first grade.